Hey everybody, it's GauntletX, and welcome back to another premiere draft of Pioneer Masters with the Devotion bonus sheet this time around. This is going to be the final week of the Devotion bonus sheet, and kind of a boring week for Draft on Arena, as this is the only premiere draft format on Arena, and we've already had the Arena open for the set, so competitive Pioneer Masters season is over. There's not too much of a point in drafting and practicing the set, but it's all we've got to premiere draft, so we'll try to keep it interesting, try to have some fun with it while it's still around. But we've got all kinds of flashback drafts and cube drafts and stuff coming up in the weeks after this, leading to the launch of the new format Aether Drift. So we're in a little bit of limbo here for a week, but then we've got all the fun variety stuff and, of course, the super spicy new set. So that whole spiel out of the way, let's just hop back into this format, see if we can't have a banger of a draft here, because we've got a banger of a pack one, pick one. Boros Reckoner is an incredibly powerful card, and it's incredibly fun with devotion cards, because it has 3 red mana symbols and 3 white mana symbols in its mana cost. So anything that needs a high devotion to red or a high devotion to white gets a lot of benefit from the card. So an excellent way to start. For pick 2, we could immediately force Boros Heroic as the best aggro deck in the format. That is a very reasonable direction to go. But we could also take Fleecemane Lion. I think that's just because Fleecemane Lion is probably a tiny bit stronger than 10th District Legionnaire in a vacuum. I'm still going to head towards red-white. I think Boros is stronger than Selesnya in this format, and it's going to be way easier to cast Boros Reckoner in a Boros deck than it is in a Selesnya deck. Like, it would still be doable. If white is our main color, we play like 10 plains, 7 forests, and we can still cast Boros Reckoner, but it's going to be really easy, really simple to do so in a pure Boros deck. So we'll head in that direction. It's a very strong, very powerful archetype, and I don't mind heading in that direction at all. Now we take a Wild Slash and just go for a nice pure aggro draft. We've got the efficient removal spell now. The Coordinated Assault is not bad, targeting 2 of your creatures for just 1 mana to trigger 2 heroic cards, but I'm also quite a big fan of Steward of Solidarity in any white deck. Just makes a whole army of warriors over time. I think I can take that over Coordinated Assault. The kind of Coordinated Assault, Martial Glory style combat tricks are not really taken highly by anybody else, but Steward of Solidarity, anybody playing any other white deck that isn't playing Boros, will still take that card pretty highly, so it's less likely to come back around for us. Pick 5, pretty weak pack overall. There's the Dinro of a Horror, an excellent blue-black card, Gnarlback Rhino for a solid green card, or just to stick to Boros, we have some pretty filler 2-drops. Boundary Lands Ranger doesn't trigger too often in Boros because you need a creature's power 4 or greater, but when it does, it's great card selection, digging you through some mana flood. And the Keening Apparition is main deckable enchantment removal, but obviously if you're not playing against a deck with any enchantments, it's a 2-mana 2/2, which is super filler. So, yeah, not the spiciest pack for us here, because I don't really think we're in a position to speculate on Dimir. We might be able to speculate on Gnarlback Rhino if we go red-green with Reckoner, Wild Slash. Going for a Gruul deck with Rhino could also make use of like Rimrock Knight style cards that'll be high pickups for us in Boros. So I'm going to speculate there on Rhino. I just think the 2-mana creatures are quite filler there. Now pick 6, a Crowan Crusader is actually pretty nice. Fall of the Hammer is as well. This is a removal spell that targets one of your creatures, so you can kill something and get heroic at the same time. So these are both pretty excellent. Currently, nothing that enables heroic. I do think Fall of the Hammer is quite good with the Legionnaire. Maybe without the cards to trigger any heroic cards yet, we take the heroic enabler over the heroic ability creature. It's interesting. I'm going to go Fall of the Hammer. The other thing that's nice about it is it's another card that works great with Gnarlback Rhino. So again, if we end up in Gruul, we can go like Fall of the Hammer, Rimrock Knight nonsense onto the Rhino. Pick 7. Ash Zealot is very good if red is your deepest color. Again, one of those 10-7 kind of splits. Ideally, it's only great if you're mono red, where you can really easily cast it. It's kind of sweet when the Devotion bonus sheet is around. If we get any cards that care about Devotion to red, having a Zealot and a Boros Reckoner, it's going to make those cards pretty high devotion. There's Coordinated Assault as well, but again, you only need a few of those kind of cards. So I'll take the Zealot on that one. I've got 2 white cards, 1 green card here. There's the Martial Glory. Martial Glory, Boundary Lands Ranger, Rubble Belt Raiders is fun too, again, just for the devotion to red. We should probably be just sticking pure Boros here and taking like a Martial Glory, but I'm just going to do fun, stupid nonsense while the devotion bonus sheet is around and take everything with a bunch of mana pips. Just keep the draft interesting. Do some nonsense we haven't gotten to do with the spells or Planeswalkers bonus sheet. It will fall a little bit flat if we don't get anything that actually cares about devotion to red, but if we do, this is like a spicy, spicy start with these 3 all hanging out together. Pick 9. Gruul Guildgate towards that Gruul deck with the Rhino. Again, just cut these 2 and we've got a Gruul deck started as well. The Gruul deck could also use Boon Satyr quite well. Really cheap 4-power creature and a solid heroic enabler. Eidolon's a pretty mediocre heroic enabler, 6 mana, but it's a good creature to throw combat tricks at. Green does seem opener than white. I'm going to take a Boon Satyr speculation here. Also opener. It seems more open than white. Slide Runner's a solid 2-drop. Whatever we play. Artful Maneuver's an okay heroic enabler. We can throw a Gladecover Scout, or sorry, a Boon Satyr onto a Gladecover Scout. We could also play these solid filler white creatures. Gladecover Scout's pretty weak without specifically a hand where we have like the beefy Boon Satyr style trick. Take the Messenger. Red looks pretty open here. Those are all pretty filler red cards, but they're still around quite late. Hopeful Eidolon, pick 14. Maybe we actually are just in a perfectly fine Boros spot here. Don't do any more messing around with green nonsense. Got the Witch's Mark here that we will just definitely play off of the red alone. It's going to be excellent in Gruul or Boros, so it is the safest pick. We could lock in on Gruul with a Hornet Nest, which is horrible against control decks, Flyers decks, Gates decks, but really good against the aggro decks. I don't know. I've probably had disproportionately bad experiences with Hornet Nest compared to how good the card is generally, but I think I'm just never drafting it again with how poorly it is played for me personally. So I'm just going to go for the Witch's Mark here. It's the most open of these cards. Wingsteed Rider would be great in Boros. Boon Satyr would be great in Gruul, but we're definitely red, and this will go into either of those 2 decks. Once again, an excellent red card, so it's easy to take the Wild Slash there. All right, sorry, the light fell on the floor, so I am working on fixing that. I was just adjusting it, and then it just broke onto the floor, so I'm going to be fixing it mid-draft, but we got absolutely paid off here, getting past Fanatic of Mogies with all of these heavy red cards, like the Boros Reckoner, the Ash Cell, and the Rubble Belt Raiders. That is a spicy, spicy pickup. Now we got the Monastery Swiftspear, and Arena makes it nice and easy for me, so I can spend time fixing the light. Alright, sorry, I was just trying to adjust the light to fix some of the green screen artifacting, and then it just got even worse. Just seeing a little bit around the edges. That's rough. But what's not rough is getting past Iroas God of Victory. So now we're just Boros Devotion here, where we want a super high devotion to red to make Fanatic of Mogies incredibly powerful, as well as make sure that Iroas is often a creature. Give your whole board menace and prevent all damage that will be dealt to attacking creatures you control, so your attackers just can't be dealt damage, period. I'm going to keep taking red permanents here. I'm going to take a Crowan Crusader over the Martial Glory combat trick. I think our pick order is red permanents #1 to get our devotion to red really high, and then we can take like the combat tricks and stuff after that. I'm probably just like splashing white, honestly, doing something like this. I think we're deep enough to try to do that. Just take the Boundary Lands Ranger here. That's probably filler enough with all these other 2-drops, though, to just take Celestial Archon as a potential much stronger, higher mana card if we don't quite get there. Here's Rimrock Knight. That's excellent. Another red permanence and a heroic enabler, targeting a heroic creature with that ability. Here's another red permanent with Makindi Slide Runner. Pick 10. Computer Takedown's a better card to play over land in Boros than the Akoum Warrior is. Sajiri Shelter is like the best one to play over land. I will definitely do that as our probably 16th land. Play 15 basics and a Sajiri Shelter. That one is super nice in Boros. Pick 12. All right, here's double red from Dragonstyle Twins. Fine, 5-drop finisher. A little filler, but perfectly fine. Warhound needs some more stuff to do at 3 mana, and that plays nice on any heroic cards like a Crow and Crusader. Coordinated Assault here over another Ranger. I guess. I don't think I have so much heroic that I really need the Assault, but I have a lot going on at 2 mana. I have 8 2-mana creatures if you count the Warhound. And I'm likely to find some more really nice ones that I want to play that I would just end up cutting the 3rd copy of Ranger for. Like, I might end up with more than 8 2-drops by the end of this draft. Playing some better ones from pack 3. Okay, yep, like a Rimrock Knight, best card in the pack. I mean, Archangel of Thune is also pretty gross. 5 mana, 3/4, flying lifelink. The Archangel puts a counter on your entire board whenever she deals damage, because you gain life when she deals damage. It's definitely better in other decks that have more lifelinkers, but she's still like some real spice here. Am I really so deep to red to really need the Rimrock Knight over her? Maybe strictly trying to win, but we're just getting goofy with it. I'll play the Archangel, absolutely. Pack 3, pick 2. Well, really sad about that because this pack sucks. I'm taking Boros Guildgate. Pick 3, this pack also sucks. I'm taking Boulder Salvo. Is that Maze's End way too late to actually build around it? I always say Maze's End one time in the future, and then it never happens because I always open up pack 3 or like halfway through pack 2. It's not even good because most gate decks are going to win the game before they have 10 gates on the board anyway, but it is very funny. It would be cool to win a game with it. Sliding on in. All right, here we go. Pick 6, we get another Rimrock Knight. Take that. 18 creatures right now. Somebody gets a double Maze's End deck. Yo. All right, that's kind of awesome. That somebody is definitely not us. I end up cutting these. And this, maybe this, lowering the heroic cards. These are 4 potential cuts. I'm trying to choose Ordeal or Slide Runner here. I don't think I want another Boros Guildgate. I'm going to go for the Ordeal. I don't think another Slide Runner is going to be that exciting, even if I cut all the other 2-drops. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them with Warhound. Hold down that Alt key, see how much I own of everything, and I guess I'm rare drafting Nylea's Disciple, because it's from the Devotion bonus sheet and also not very interesting. So I didn't draft any yet. Another Rimrock Knight, let's go. Man, we could have been Gruul as well. There's Experiment 1 and Gnarlback Rhino. Obviously, there was that Xenagos we saw that also could have ended up in here. Okay, this is... we have 2 lands in here. So there's 27 non-lands. We want to play probably like 16 lands, counting these 2. So we want 14, so 26. We want this to say 26. So cut 3 of these, go boop, boop, boop. Play 1 Boundary Lands Ranger. 14 basics, a Guildgate, and a Shelter. Feels like a deck. If I find anything better than Ranger in these last few picks, then I'll cut the Ranger, and we'll do that. But this is 17 creatures. That is perfect. It's looking like it's going to be a sweet Boros Devotion aggro build. So we're running 10 basics, and we've got one white source already, and then one of both. So 14 basics. It's probably going to be like 9 mountains, 5 plains. Does that seem reasonable? I need double white for one of our cards, but there's only 3 other cards that need white mana. Probably go really low on white. Yeah, there's only 5 white cards total. And I've got like, you know, double red turn 2, triple red turn 4. Maybe it's 10 mountains and 4 plains. Probably is. Archangel's going to be a little inconsistent, but still a fun, powerful card, so I'm still going to run her. Ooh, I found our cut for Boundary Lands Ranger, so let me cut him real quick, and then we'll throw this card in. That's going to be awesome. Another Sajiri Shelter. Sure, I'll run that over another one of our planes. And here we go. That's going to be 10 mountains, 3 plains now. That is 14 basics, 2 Sajiri Shelters, and a Boros Guild Gate. And we've got it. Boros Devotion. Let's just hop right into the gameplay. Alright, we get it started with a Monastery Swiftspear, and if the Swiftspear dies, we have nothing else. So, hopefully it doesn't die particularly quickly. There's Fanatic. Gotta find me some more red permanents, but that could be good. Selesnya from our opponent. Ooh, the Archangel. I've only got 1 white source for it so far, but gives me a much better late game if we do get stopped in our tracks here. Cool. Eat that 2/2 and shoot for 2. Looks like pure Selesnya for now. We see an actual forest and an actual plains. It's not just the guild gates. So it doesn't look like a 5-color gates deck or anything. Audacity onto the Dryad. If I kill it in response to Audacity, they don't draw the card off Audacity going to Graves. This is the best time to kill it. Prevent some card draw. Get some really immense value on our side of the table. Rimrock Knight was the draw for a lot of damage with Swiftspear. And now we have 2 Devotion to Red if I hit the Fanatic mana. Another Leaf Crown Dryad. And the Savage Punch to kill the Swiftspear. Lowering our Devotion to Red. Right in time for the Fanatic. Tragic. Still go ahead and play this pre-combat to shoot for 2 instead of 1. And send in the Rimrock Knight, which they do not trade for, because we've got a 4/2 on board they could try to trade for instead. So they're down to 7 now. There's Gnarlback Rhino to throw a Boulder Salvo at if I hit a land, and I did. Not a white source, so Archangel's not having a particularly good time. But hey. They are down to 4 now. There's the clear shot to kill Fanatic. And Audacity on the Dryad and attack. They are ready to go to 1 life here. Alright, well, go to 1. Here's Boros Reckoner as the draw. If this gets dealt any damage, it just shoots them in the face and kills them. Unflinching Courage for lifelink and trample. So they can attack, and Boros Reckoner doesn't kill them because they deal 3 to that and 3 to us. They gain 6, take 3. But they do not attack. Wild Slash off the top. There's a lot of ways we can kill them with a Wild Slash, but we'll just do it the simplest way and shoot them for 1. Alright, brutal game for our opponent because that Boros Devotion nonsense just popped off, and we are 1-0 heading into game 2. All right, here we are on the play for game 2. We got Warhound and a Reckoner. Warhound is our worst card to actually play on turn 2. It's way better to bestow it. But if we don't have any other creature to cast on turn 2, it is still worth playing it and getting that damage rolling in as quickly as possible. And we do not have anything else to play, so here is the Warhound. The other thing really awkward about it, playing it on turn 2, is it's much more likely to have to chump attack. That way, attacking into like a 2-3 or something. I'm perfectly happy to attack into a 3-2, so I'll just send it. That is a really good trade for me. The 3-2 that can sack to get -2/-2 to anything is an infinitely better card than just a 2-2 that has to attack each turn of Able. So it's a really good trade for us, but it's also probably in our opponent's favor, or they would not have made that block. And it can be in their favor where, even though they're trading a better creature for our worst creature, it could be in their favor in that way they get to stop a bit of damage here and prolong the game. Like, if they have some really nice late game cards in their hand, that helps them play towards winning the long game. I did not play land for turn there because there's a chance I want to Witch's Mark discarding the plains next turn, depending on what we draw. Okay, so Witch's Mark discarding the Boros Guildgate, it's gonna be... Find Rimrock Knight. Ooh. Was probably going to Boulder Salvo this turn, but Rimrock Knight is perfectly fine. Okay, they have no good blocks here. So they chomp the Swift Spear. Am I actually just hard casting Rimrock Knight? It might be. Not the most pumped about that, but another 3-power creature on board is a big deal. And then we end up hard casting Boulder Salvo as well. No Surge involved. It's a lot of open mana from them. So we'll find out what it gives them. Supernatural Stamina, the Gearcrafter, would be kind of solid. Rescue from the Underworld. Putting a Chromanticore onto the board next turn. Okay, we could definitely lose to that. Chromanticore's kind of impossible to get through. Flying, First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, Lifelink. There's Dreadbore as well. Got a lot of draws that we could have to win this game, but if we don't hit the right card pretty much immediately, we do lose. And that is not the right card. Guess I'll die. Chromanticore's kind of unstoppable. And it's because we salvoed the 2-1 to get through for damage. Like, with the information we had at the time, it was 100% the right play in an aggro deck to clear that blocker out of the way, get all the damage in, but it is brutal that the salvo technically could have killed the Chromanticore. The fact that they exactly had Rescue from the Underworld to just sack the Gearcrafter anyway. Alright. Good card to have. We're moving on. And just to be clear, Fall the Hammer only deals damage to creatures, not players. So our opponent has 5 blockers up next turn because the Chromanticore has Vigilance, and they're at 7 life, and then the turn after that 11, and yeah. Alright, here we are for game 3. This is a pretty wonderful hand. Just Slide Runner into Rimrock Knight. Just jams for a bunch of damage. Turn 3. Looks like 5 color gates from our opponent. Golgari Guildgate into Plains. Tragic. They've got the Devour Flesh, so now we're on a really slow start. from their efficient removal to stay alive. Voyaging Satyr, alright, Slash is great against that. Another Rimrock Knight. Well, there you go. That speeds this up a lot. Need to go back and edit my audio again because I unplugged my headphones in the process of fixing the light. Okay, there we go. Drag Mangler. Trades into a Rimrock Knight pretty well. Oh wow, they just jam? Let's go. I am happy to be trading blows right now. Surge the Boulder Salvo while I definitely can. Now we know Drag Mangler won't be blocking. Alright, I'm gonna need some good instant speed removal here. Do you have instant speed life gain? No, alright, brutal game. Opponent just never hit their 4th mana. They just didn't even have spells to cast there, so 2 and 1 heading into game 4. Alright, game 4 time. Nice aggressive start, but we're on the draw here, it looks like. Flames from opponent. Ooh. Fnatic's got a little bit of devotion going for it here. Might be able to Fnatic for 4 damage. Boros Mirror Match. Hello, Humble Defector. I'm not even particularly scared of you, but I do like Fall the Hammer to get a token here. You know, no, I'll just play Slide Runner. They just want to trade Defector and Crusader, that's fine. Our 1-drop trades up into a 2, that's still some good value from it. And yeah, that does put a lot of fear in them, because if we're playing Crusader, you have to expect us to be playing a lot of combat tricks. And if we get the combat trick the Crusader to eat the Defector, then we get extra value out of the trick, so it's not even a 1-for-1 trade, it's just a trade in our favor. Ghostblade Eidolon, that's a way better card to kill with Fall the Hammer, so I'm pretty happy with how that curve out worked. Ooh, there's Boros Guildgate towards the Archangel. And the 10th District Legionnaire, but obviously the Archangel's a little cooler. Nice from opponent. No blocks with a Defector. Are they going to actually have the sack combo with it, where you tap it to draw 2 and then sack it in response? It's Fnatic for 4 damage. Did find the second white source for Archangel, so we've got just an incredible turn 5 play. Oh, it's 3 damage, not 4. This one does not have any mana symbols. I'm done. Don't worry about it. Sajiri Shelter, sure. Trade a Shelter for a Slide Runner. Still get trampled. Ghostblade Eidolon. I'll just play the Archangel here. I could trade Fnatic into Humble Defector, but I would rather see if we can get a trigger on Archangel, and then our whole board can attack through the 2-1 and the 1-1 double strike. And they do scoop them up. Archangel of Thune is just a super strong card, so we are 3 and 1 heading into game number 5. All right, here we are for game 5 on the draw. We might want to hardcast Rimrock Knight and then put the Warhound on it. Again, I just really don't like dropping the Warhound turn 2. Suppose I've got the Shelter to protect either when they block it. Yeah, let's lead with the Rimrock Knight. Down to 18. Gear per Gear Crafter. Alright, that's 3 power to block Rimrock Knight with. And I guess the trade is fine, right? Rimrock Knight now trades into the Gear Crafter and its token, and then we still have the Warhound left behind. I could post-combat bestow onto Rimrock Knight to try to do Shelter and Fall the Hammer nonsense, but against blue-red, like then maybe like bounce Rimrock Knight and stuff. It ends up playing poorly. Yeah, I'm just gonna bestow and offer the trade here, where I still have my 2/2. Alright, cool. The Warhound helped the Rimrock Knight trade much better than it would have otherwise. Without the Warhound, the 3/1 is so bad on this board. That's teamwork right there. And I can still, like, Witch's Mark this Warhound to make it a 3/3 to attack into the Skirmisher. Don't even have to use the Shelter or the Fall of the Hammer if I don't want to. Storm Chaser Mage. I probably do want to Fall the Hammer that. Okay. Late enough in the game here that I'm pretty happy to ditch a Crowan Crusader for bigger spells. Cool. Boundary Lands Ranger. They don't have the 4-power creature to do any card draw with that. They do have the Boulder Salvo Surge to clear out our 3/3. Alright, well. I'm playing all these lands right now so I can cast Slash and Shelter, but then I don't get to buff Slide Runner next turn unless I top deck a land, which I don't want to. Okay, they do not control a creature with power 4 or greater, so they don't get through protection. And I guess even if they did, like, protection would counter that, right? Because it couldn't legally target Slide Runner anymore. Gust of Wind? Alright. Back in my hand to recast next turn. You got it. Okay. Next turn, Fanatic with 3 Devotion to red. And if I hit another land, I even get to ditch it to the Ranger, because this is a 4-power creature. Could be sweet. Cloudfin Raptor. Oh, the double? Dang, 2 insanely relevant draws from our opponent. Jesus. Raptor and Murmuring Mystic, so any instants or sorceries they draw off the top are devastating. And then just the 5 toughness is incredibly rough as well. Can cash in the Sajiri Shelter just to hit them for 4 more damage. It might not be the worst. Well, that's rough after ditching a white source. I might need to just play Shelter tapped now, because I feel like Archangel wins this if they don't have the removal in hand. Another Cloudfin Raptor. Okay, please don't have the scatter. Okay, no scatter at least. It's an ingenious scab. Double evolve the raptors. Any instant or sorcery gives them enough power in the sky to kill the Archangel, but if I cast the Legionnaire pre-combat... Okay, they have nothing in hand. If they show me that, we're super attacking with the Archangel. I was going to say, if I pre-combat the creature, it's still going to be worth trading the Archangel off and just buffing the entire board. Because with a board this wide, gaining the life is huge. Yeah, look at this. It even puts a counter on itself. My lord. This Archangel was so worth the extra white sources. 100%. Witch's Mark on a Raptor. That's quite big here. A flyer from the Mystic. Make the Raptor even bigger. Oh, they didn't discard a card to draw 2, though. Right, because they didn't have any cards in hand. They could block Archangel with, like, everybody. But again, I think that's pretty in my favor. Kill a 2/3 and a 1/1 flyer, and then just attack with everybody next turn to kill them. I guess I could pre-combat Boulder Salvo one of the 2/3s and make that not an option for them. I wish it would not auto-allocate damage, because it does it so incorrectly every time. Like, why would you ever deal 1 to Cloudfin Raptor when you can kill 2 of the creatures? It's probably in the settings, but I'm used to the old settings where that wasn't a thing. Yeah, I should have just pre-combated this. But I'm pretty sure we just win with an all-attack next turn. Yeah, there's the concession from our opponent regardless. Definitely played incorrectly. I should have just done the flying damage math, but doesn't matter when Archangel of Thunes is so busted. We are 4-1 heading into game number 6. All right. On the draw for game 6, we got that early Ash Zealot to just get hasting for damage. Wow. Massive devotion to red. Ash Zealot into Reckoner is the line here. If we draw Fanatic Amogus and they don't kill either of these, I don't know how they would possibly stabilize. A 6 damage Fanatic. Archaeologist is definitely annoying for the Ash Zealot. So I suppose I actually start with Slide Runner, because that can attack into the Archaeologist by being a 3/2 instead of a 2/2. Okay. All I need to attack into that thing is to play 1 land this turn. Tempted to get the tap land out of the way so I can cast 2 2-drops next turn. I feel like that's worth it. Unless I flood out here, this should be very worth it. Yeah, get them to Obnix. This is Cruelty. A 3/2. I could follow the Hammer of the Archaeologist, since it's annoying, but I feel like I'll have better creatures of my own to target soon enough. So Skirmisher, that's pretty annoying. We know they have a Jwari Disruption if I try to double spell here. Just Warhound up the Slide Runner. Feels reasonable. Archaeomancer tapped out of the disruption, so now we can go ahead and get our double spell out of the way. Okay, no land for turn. Slight tragedy. Only 3 toughness, so they can block with Archaeomancer and Skirmisher. Can follow the hammer in response. Can Ash sell it and still follow the hammer, or Boulder Rush, so we'll do that. Looks like a good Boulder Rush turn then. So they can Cruelty the Slide Runner, and then I still have a Warhound and a Zealot on board. They're going to read the bones. Go down to 9 life here to draw 2. Play a land for turn. Just hold that Ob Nixilis' Cruelty up here. I will not be able to cast Fall the Hammer as long as they've got that 3 mana up, because then they can kill whatever I use to fall with. Fell Stinger, tap out of it, let's go. And shoot themselves in the face again, down to 7. Life loss is hopefully going to come back to bite them here. Yeah, we can kill both the blockers and lethal them. That is game. Follow the hammer, one of them. And Boulder Salvo the other. For 7 damage. That is now 5-1. An excellent, excellent record in this deck as we head into round number 7. We've not seen our Iroas a single time yet. We've drawn the Archangel a lot, which has been fantastic, but it would be quite cool to be able to see all of our rares a little bit. So that's what I got my fingers crossed for in these next few games. See if we can't play some God of Victory. This is a solid start. We have the Swift Spear into Rimrock Knight. Get a bunch of power on the board early. Can cash in the Rimrock Knight for a bunch of damage with the Boulder Rush, if I'd rather do that. If they play anything to slash, I definitely will. Oh yeah, this is going to be a fantastic turn. I get to slash that, and Boulder Rush, and hit for like 5. Jesus. Whee! Imposing Sovereign. Our creatures enter tapped now. Rude. Cash in the damage here. Get them to 10. Here's a Rimrock Knight. Rimrock Knight, Boulder Salvo, sure. Trade into Shelter. so that I can keep 6 power on this board. There's a Wild Slash. And the Rimrock Knight, which can't block, so we are jamming for 3 again. I'm going to hold one of these lands in hand at all times, because we do have the discard a card draw too that we can hit. A Nax and Samid. First Strike Vigilance. Ooh, there's Iroas. Our whole board has Menace now. Whee. And can't be killed during attacks. Prevents all the damage. There's the Sajiri Shelter if something happens. They have a combat trick, we die. If they don't, then they die. Moment of truth. Did they draw more spells than us? No. No? Concession from our opponent. That is 6-1. We finally got to play Iroas, and Iroas was actually the cause of our victory there, getting the Menace to get around the first striking blocker. All right, here we are for what could be the final battle. We've got 2 shots at this, but could end it all right here with a nice quick 7-win run. This hand is pretty great. The Boros Reckoner, the Fanatic to go with the Reckoners, quite nasty too. It's an Ordeal of Purphoros. Let's start with the Slide Runner here. Definitely not favored. We're on the draw in the mirror match, which is not where you want to be. But the hand is powerful enough, I think we could still make up for that. The triple Rimrock Knight is definitely scary. Quite sketchy when we're on the defensive. And we've got the 3 can't block creatures. Yep, there's the removal, put us to 14 now. Reckoner is incredibly good on blocks at least, but we've drawn 0 lands this game. Which is very, very bad for the 2-land opener. But yeah, like Reckoner gets to block, trade into a Rimrock Knight and a Slide Runner on blocks, kill both of them with its ability. Alright, well, that's magic, baby. If we draw 0 lands the whole game, that is definitely how we lose. Kill Rimrock Knight because it actually stops more damage than killing Slide Runner. Because Slide Runner leaves behind the 2/2 still. Sure, take 5, go to 2, get Wild Slash for lethal. Why not? Still don't hit the land, alright. That's pretty rude, Arena. 6-2, heading into the actual final battle. Alright, here we are for the final battle on the draw again in an aggro mirror match. So not favored twice in a row. They have the Wild Slash in the opener for the Crusader, or is it a Boulder Rush? Looks like a Rimrock Knight if they didn't just slash Crusader. Ooh, it's Izzet. Izzet still tends to be pretty aggressive because the Cloudfin Raptors, there's like a bunch of cheap flyers out of blue you can play with the aggressive red cards. Yep, there's the Cloudfin Raptor. I'll certainly Wild Slash that. Dragon Mantle. Right now I will definitely Wild Slash that. It's just getting scarier and scarier. Let's get the tap land out of the way so I know I can cast Boros Reckoner next turn. I guess I could have gone Mountain Fall of the Hammer to get the 1/1 and kill the Cloudfin Raptor, but playing the Boros Reckoner as quickly as possible feels ideal. Because any removal they have to permanently kill it is going to deal damage to it and get its ability triggered, which should be pretty nasty against our opponent. Like, they could, like, bounce it to our hand temporarily with blue, but if we resolve it with our tapped out, they can't counter it, and anything that actually just permanently deletes it from the board is going to be some red spell that deals damage to it that it plays really well against. Alright, do your combat trick, Jessian Thief. Okay. Goodbye, Jessian Thief. You do have land 4. And a Humble Defector. I've seen a lot of Humble Defectors today, which has been weird, because I don't think they're particularly great. Still happy to Fall the Hammer it just to get a heroic trigger, but I think it's super threatening. Nivix Cyclops. Sure, we'll get that out of the way with the Boulder Salvo by casting the Boulder Rush. Kind of a cute little random flavor when they gave us in the set. Boulder Rush into the Boulder Salvo. Kill the only blocker. They're super, super dead next turn to Fnatic. There's the concession. That is a 7-win run for our Boros Devotion build. Really fun deck, super simple draft all around. We just got some really powerful Boros bombs and ran with them. There was a lot of bouncing between Boros, Gruul, Mono Red early, with just the Boros Reckoner and Red being open enough to stay Mono Red. But we had a really simple reason to lock in with the Iroas later on. And then, of course, getting that Archangel that also played super well. Yeah, I mean, this is the strongest aggro archetype in the format. We've got plenty of removal to back it up, great creature curve, and multiple bombs between the Archangel, Iroas, and Reckoner. So it was a very simple, very powerful deck, and sweet run today. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.